Hello friends, welcome back. So in today's session we will learn data types. Data type in Java, and we will learn how many types of data types are available in Java. So let's get started with that one. So data type, what is data type? Data type represent the type of data that application uses, or if developer want to use some data, then developer has to define the data type first, then only we can assign some values in that one. And data can be anything. Data can be the name of students, marks of students, attendance record of student or employee or anything, that is also data. Employee payload is a data. Passenger list of train or aeroplane. So this is a data. And in programming language, data type is used to handle the data. We have to handle the data. How will you handle the data in programming language? You have to use some data types. In that data types only we can store some data and we can access that data. So that has some type. Data has some type. Suppose if I take name of student, it means this is a combination of characters only. Characters that can be a English character, Hindi characters, or any other programming language character it can have. Marks, that is not character, that is digits only. Two digits, 3 digits, some digits only. Attendance record, that is a combination of some day, time period, something like that. Employee payload, her CTC, his CTC, his basic pay, like that. So many records will be there. So that is also data. Passenger list, that can contains the name of passengers, age of the passengers, and along with that some unique ID of the passengers. So that is also data only. So that has some special forms. It can have different types of data also, like that can be integer, that can be string, so many types only. So that is called data types. To store the data, we must have to define the type of data first, then only we can store the data. And that can be represented by the type of data that we want to store and the amount of data. Suppose amount of data means suppose we want to store the age of a person. Then how much the maximum age of person can be? That can be 100 years or 110, 120, most hardly this age will be there. So for that one we have to allocate only that much memory. Other memory will be wasted in that case, because the max is we can say that 120 is the max age of a person, then remaining it will be wastage only. So we have to allocate the memory according to their required size. So that is called data type. What type of data and what will be the size of data and the memory allocation required to store the data. So there are two types of data type in Java. One is a primitive data type and another one is a non-primitive. Non-primitive is nothing but that user can define. Suppose attendance record, user can define. Employee payload, user can define inside what structure it should be. Employee payload, what should be the year, what will be the month, what will be the leaves, like that. Employee payroll can have so many fields. So that can be a user defined data types. But name of students you don't need to give as an user defined data type, because name only you can give as user string, but again the string is also user defined only. Marks you can represent using some integer number only, some digits only, so that you don't need to define explicitly. So that is primitive data type. So this is the example of primitive data type. User defined data type is what that is not fulfilling your requirement. In that case you can define your own data type. If your requirement is not being fulfilled with primitive data types, then you can define user defined data types. So that is the two types of data type. First one is a primitive data type, another one is a non-primitive data type. So primitive data types means which one? That is a boolean, byte, character, short, int, long, float and double. This is the primitive data type. This 8 is the primitive data types. And user defined data types can be anything. User defined type can be a class, can be interface, can be enum. We have already learned this one. Class is a user defined data type, interface is also a user defined data type, and enum is also a user defined data type. Annotation is also a user defined data type, but we cannot create object, that we can add into class only. That is, we have already learned this thing. Okay, so here if from this graph what you can see, in primitive data types we have categorized according to their use. If we want to store any integer number, any number, then we can use any of them. We can use byte, we can use short, int, long. Now why they have given in this format actually? Why they have given? Suppose if you want to store the age of a person, then byte is enough, because one byte size is 8 bit, means from 127 0 to 127 or 1 minus 128 it can store. In that case person age you can store in byte only, so you no need to declare as a short or int or long, because the default type is int only, and int will take a 32 bit it will take. So more memory it will acquire, and that memory will goes as waste only. So you can, according to your requirement you can choose, which one, means what can be the max number, what can be the maximum number for my variable can be. So accordingly I can choose. So that's why they have given integer in the 4 forms: byte, short, int and long only. Float, what is the use of this floating point? Suppose you want to represent a number in float in form of floating point. Suppose how you want to store 3.5, but the 3.5 you cannot store into byte, short, int or long. You have to use floating point only, and floating point 2 are given, float and double. And if double is the default one and float you have to give explicitly. And character, what is the meaning of character? Character is nothing but one character. Suppose for English characters are A, B, C, D. Hindi ka kha ga ga, ka kha ga da, cha cha ja ja, ta tha da. So all these are the characters only. To you have, if you want to store any character, you can use char data types. Boolean, if you store true or false, you want to store true or false, means either yes or no, that's it. You can say like that, I want to store yes, I want to store no, like that only. So boolean, one bit will be enough for that one. So this is a boolean. Non-primitive data type can be anything like string, array, list, set, stack, vector. So these all are the non-primitive, and non-primitive is nothing but that is a user defined only. String is a class that is already defined inside JDK. Array is also one class, but this it is talking about some other array that we will see. And interface, list is an interface, set is an interface. Enum is not there. Enum we have already seen alphabets like that, or we have seen the example of direction, north, east, west, south. That is like that, you can use that also. Annotation, we already talked, we cannot create the object for that one, we have to add inside the class or interface or inside enum only. So that is different thing. So this is the two types of data type. First one is a primitive, another one is a non-primitive. So here is some size is also given for data types. Suppose boolean, what will be the use of boolean? You have to store either yes or no, true or false. True means yes, false means no. So 1 bit, using 1 bit, if bit is 1 then you can say this is a true, if bit is a 0 then you can say as a false. In C or C++ this concept is forward only, but in Java they have explicitly given as a type, data type as a boolean. Internally it will use bits only, 0 and 1 only. Byte to store the number within the range of -128 to 127. If you want to store any number that is exceeding the value, max value of 127, then you have to use character only. But character is a different, inside character you can store character also, like Hindi character, English character, or any other language, Kannada, Tamil, Telugu, any language character you can store. In short, if you your requirement is exceeding then the range of 127, then you can use short, because 1 byte is not enough to store your integer number, then you can use short. If that range is also exceeding, then you can use integer. And how can you calculate the size? 2 power 32. 32 is what? It's a bit. 32 is our bit. So from that bit, -1 if you do, you will get the max value, what the possible values you can your integer variable can store. If that range is also exceeding, then you can use long can store max value is this only. This is the max value for long. If you want to store the value that is exceeding then this value, that also Java has the features, Java has that capacity also, we will see that also. And to store any float or double, you can use float or double, like 3.5, like 1.4, 4.9, these value if you want to store, you can use float or double, or any other reference data type. Okay, so this is the default values also. Here we have given default value. For default value, boolean is a false, for byte is 0, or for all are 0 only, and for any user defined data type, default value is null only. Okay, so here is a size, here is a bit. You can memorize this one, and that will be helpful in the upcoming sessions. Okay, so now let's see the code implementation, how it will be. See, this is a boolean where we have created here one class, data type main class. Inside that one we have declared one boolean variable, that value we are assigning as a true. If we are default value is false, we are giving here true. We have declared one byte variable also, 127. See here, this is a 127. If your value is exceeding 128, like that, you cannot store here. See, compiler will give error here. See, type mismatch, cannot converted from int to byte. What does it means? It means the default types of any number is integer only. If it is within the range of integer. If it is not, then it will give error. This is also integer, but this is coming within the range of byte. So your compiler will assign this value into byte variable. But this value 128 is exceeding the range of byte, and default value is integer only. 128 default data type is integer only, but it is exceeding then the range of byte. In that case, your compiler is giving this error. So you have to use this only. And here we are using short. For short, this is the max range. Suppose if your value you want to store that is exceeding then 127, then you can use short. In short, you can store max value is this only. This is the max value for short. If you want to store anything bigger than that, any larger value than that, then it will, your compiler will give again the same error, because the default type is integer only, but type mismatch cannot be converted from int to short, because default is int only, and your range is exceeding than the max range of short. In that case your compiler will give this error, so you have to use this one only. Suppose you want to store that value, then you can use int here. So this is the max range of int, int. If I will give here 8, then what? Now your compiler will not give that error. See, literal of type int is out of range. Now this time why it is coming out of range? Because the default type is int only. Sorry, the default type is int only, but you have exceeded that range, int, and default is int only, so that's why this is giving out of range. So I'm just making the same only, and if we have to store any larger value than this one, then we have to use long here. See, inside long, this is the max value, and if I will not give here L, then it will give one error. What is that error? See, the literature the type of int is out of range. Why it is coming like that? Because the default type, if you see the error, the literal this value of type int is out of range, because the default type of any number is int only, but this is exceeding the range, this is exceeding then the range of int only, and we have to make this as a long, so you have to add L here. L can be a capital or can be a small, that is not a problem. You can give capital also, that's fine. If you give small, that is also fine. Okay, L means your compiler now understand you want to consider this value as a long, and you want to assign this value into long variable. So that's why we have added L, to make understand, because the default is integer only. If you don't add L, then it will be considered as integer only, and integer, this is not the within the range of integer, it is out of the range, it is out of the range of integer. So that's why we have to make this as a long by adding L, and now we can store this value. Suppose if we want to store this one, suppose I have given here 8, then what your compiler will give? The literal this of type long is out of range. Now what we can do, how we can store that value? So that problem also is resolved in Java. We can do that one, and we will see in the after this one. Okay, so this is a long, and this is a float value. If this value is not enough, then you can use this one. If this value is not enough, then also that we will see how we can store that is exceeding in the range of double, or how we can store the number that is exceeding than the range of long one, that we will see now. And this is a character, character K. Now we have K, we have stored only one character we can store. We cannot store like this KP. This is a two character, we cannot store like that. So this is only one character, for one character. So K is a one character. And here this is our user defined data type, student, that we already defined, and we already seen in so many videos, so many sessions we have already seen this one. So this is our user defined data type, and this is another user defined data type, that is a string, and the string is already defined inside JDK. Okay, and here country name is a Bharat. Country name, we are assigning the value as a Bharat, and we are printing that value. So I will run this one, and you will see output here. See, so this is a true 127 byte value, short value, int value, long value. Sorry, what is long two time? Why? After int long. Oh, sorry. After int, this is a long. This is long. This is float. Sorry. This is double. That is copy pasted actually. Okay. Yeah. I will run again. So this is the boolean value true, byte value 127, we are printing whatever the value is there in byte variable. Inside short variable this value, inside int variable this value we are printing. This is the long value that long variable is holding, we are printing. This is the float value that float variable is handling. This is the double value that double variable is holding. This is the character value k, and this is the student is printing in this such a way. The toString method we have overridden in string class, so in student class. So it's printing student id, student name and course. And this is the string. Inside string variable we have defined the country, so string variable name we have defined as a country name, and country name we are assigning as a Bharat, and we are printing here. And suppose this is the k, and as we have already discussed, inside character you can initialize, you can assign any character. You can use this character for any of the character of any language. Suppose this is a k, and if I use this one, this is a Unicode. This one only we have given here. See, Unicode. What is the meaning of Unicode? Unicode means any unique code for any programming language character. Any programming language characters are there, that character can be represented using Unicode only. Unicode means inside character, for character values you can use for character value you can use Unicode, and the Unicode is nothing but any character value of any programming language. Any programming language character value is called Unicode only. So here in this program we have used U0915. This is a Unicode of Hindi Ka. In Hindi language, Ka is there. Ka is one character. Ka for kabutar. That is one character. That character we have stored into this char variable, and we are printing here. In the same way, this can you do for string also. Why? Because string is nothing but the collection of character only. That we will see when this java.lang package will start. In this lang package, string class is there. We will see thoroughly this string class. So so here is a string. String is nothing but a sequence of characters only. This is one character, this is one character, this is one character, this is one character. Here in the Bharat, this B is one character, H is one character, A is one character, R is one character, A is one character, and T is one character. In the same way, if you write Bharat in Hindi, this is the Bha, this is the Matra A, this is Ra, and this is Ta. So this is a Bharat in Hindi. You can represent in this way, and this is a Ka for Kabutar. This one is Ka. So if I run this one, and you will see, yeah, see, character value Ka for Kabutar, and value string value country name is Bharat. So in this way you can use data types. You can use user defined data types or any primitive data types. Primitive data types is very common data types that you can use to store some values like floating value or integer value or character value. And if you want to store some custom value, then you can use the defined data types, and you can define your data types by your own. Okay, and here one question is coming. Suppose here this is the long value, this is long value, this is the max range of long. But what if I want to store the value that is larger than this one? Suppose I want to store the distance of planets from Earth. From Earth, the distance of Moon is different, distance of Mars is different, distance of Pluto, like that. That will be more than this number. That will be more than this number. Then how will you store that values here? Because this is the max range only we can store inside this numerical data type. So for that one, Java has given big integer and big decimal. See, this is a big integer and big decimal numbers. It's not limited to this one. It is not limited to this one. Not limited. Any number, whatever. And it will A and B, and I am adding inside A and B, both values I am adding. See, A add B, because this is user defined only. these are user defined only. In that case we have to use methods only to add these two values, and we are printing. This is for decimal. This is, see, this one is one value, after decimal this is one value, and this is not limited. You can give anything, no issue. You can give anything, no issue. And I will run and you will see the output. See, now this number is making after addition, and we cannot cannot count what exactly it is. If we start counting kai dahi second hazar like that, then also we cannot count. This is very long number, actually very big number. Okay, in that case you can use big integer or big decimal. If your program, or if you want to store any value, any integer value or any float value that is large than the max range of long or double, then you can use big integer or big decimal, but hardly you will get this type of requirement. That will, if you get, then you can do. Okay, so this is all about the data types. Suppose here we have seen so many things. Suppose we have given some name here, boolean var. What is boolean var? What you will understand from this one? So this is name only. So this is called identifier, and this is also a variable. What type of variable it is? This is a local variable. So in the next session we will see identifier, variable and constants. What is the identifier, what is variable, and what is constant? In the next session we will see. So I hope you like this session. Please subscribe my channel, and thanks for watching, and we will see you in next session. Till that, bye bye.